for Arizona, but for Florida Atlantic, this is a away game. For Arizona, this is a home game. So it's going to be similar to what we saw up in Phoenix, up there. In the game where it was predominantly Arizona, it's going to be the same up here at when they play in Vegas. So yeah, I mean, you get to play a team like Florida Atlantic. I've been saying it the whole time. That was the one team that I thought would give us problems, even more so than Purdue, and it's because of their style of play. They're just relentless. I can't find nothing that they're good at, DK. I'm looking at. I can't find nothing that they're good at, but winning. But winning.
Hey, that's all you got to be good at,
right?
Yeah, I'm watching them, and if you just figure out a way, different games, different leading scorers, different guys impacting the game. They legitimately play 9 people. I mean, hey, it's just one of those teams, one of those mid-majors that figured it out.
All right, that's your first look at today's Florida versus Arizona basketball game.
That's been our first look at today's Arizona men's basketball game. Brought to you by The Window Depot. Lowest prices and biggest inventory. Shop thewindow.depot.com.
And don't forget, Window Depot also sponsors Arizona's top rebounding performance every ball game. It's the Window Depot glass cleaner of the game. Might be the Wildcat with the most rebounds. Could be the U of A star with the most impactful boards. We will tell you the Window Depot glass cleaner of the game coming up tonight on the Meridian Wealth Management post-game show. It's Countdown to Tip-Off along with J.W. Madden and Kelvin Ifan, the captain, 1998. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Find out among the bars and restaurants in the University area. Frog and Firkin does what very few pubs can, combine a festive atmosphere and great beer with a menu that could stand on its own in any restaurant setting. A sports enthusiast dream with over 30 TVs, 30 beers on tap, and over 100 import and domestic bottles. Daily drink and food specials, and the kitchen is serving until 10. A standout in the University area. Frog and Firkin. Eat local, support local. frogandfirkin.com.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rock & K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills. Enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Explore natural open space, a network of connecting trails, and a community park within the Vale School District. Visit Lennar's 2 communities in Rock & K with home savings up to $35,000 and limited time interest rate and closing cost incentives on select move-in ready homes. Live rockandk.com. Designed by Nature, proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Do you often worry you left the garage door open? With a LiftMaster garage door opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, we have smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video streaming, and battery backup that lets you in when the power is out.
Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates is your authorized local LiftMaster dealer. Visit KaiserDoor.com for more information.
Back to the holiday shopping adventures of Eugene Snarkle and his best friend Doug.
Hey, Eugene, we waited a little too long to get our shopping done. The shelves are looking pretty empty.
I was thinking of getting everyone a giant-sized bag of Cheezos.
We interrupt Eugene's great idea for this message.
Does your car, truck, SUV, or sleigh need a little maintenance to get road trip ready for the holidays? Check out jackfurriers.com for savings up to 50% off. Get your vehicle holiday road trip ready at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, here to get you there.
At Nova Home Loans, we believe everyone deserves the opportunity to enjoy the independence that comes with home ownership. Whether you're a first-time home buyer who needs down payment assistance, have less than perfect credit, or looking to refinance, Nova has a variety of home loan programs for your unique situation. Visit novahomeloans.com or call 800-955-9125 to learn more. Not a commitment to lend or extend credit. Rates and available loan programs are subject to change without notice. NMLS 3087, BK 0902429, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Always trust the big guy. Mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair at coolwillies.com. Cool Willie's is proud to be a partner of the University of Arizona Wildcats basketball radio broadcast. 2 powerful teams working hard for you to get the job done right every day. Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Big enough to help, small enough to care. Remember to mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair. coolwillies.com.
The Window Depot is proud to sponsor the first look at today's game and would like to invite Arizona Wildcat fans to visit one of their Tucson warehouses. The Window Depot provides over 1,000 in-stock vinyl windows, interior and exterior doors, plus granite and quartz countertops, and a huge selection of custom cabinetry, all at the lowest prices in town. Consider the Window Depot your MVP when it comes to your home improvement needs. Stores are open Monday through Saturday, or order online at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown and Tip-Off Show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off. Arizona versus Florida Atlantic today in Las Vegas. Tip-Off coming up for you at 1 o'clock. It is time for Spotlight on a Cat. And today's spotlight is going to be on Umar Ballo.
Our pregame show Spotlight on a Cat is brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Waits for Boswell. Turn around, quick shot up, off the back of the rim, no good. Rebound tipped out to Larson. And to Bradley. Jaden will drive inside, shovel it up. Ooh, a little too strong. There's Ballo for the follow. And the Cats get an offensive rebound and 2 points.
Love how Jaden Bradley's attacking Alabama.
Umar Ballo had a double-double in that game, came close to, I believe, the double-double in the game against Alabama, finishing with 9 rebounds and 16 points. And we saw a situation in that ball game, guys, where they brought in a player specifically to foul him at certain points of the game, and he responded to that, making 6 of 10 free throws. We kind of had joked early on this season that we might eventually see the Hackaballo situation. And let me correct myself. He did have the double-double. He had 16 and 12 yes. In that ball game, 16 and 12. But we finally did see that. And Umar stepped up to the plate and was able to knock down the free throws when he needed to do that. So that was really good, I think, to see from Umar Ballo, Calvin.
Yes, it was, because, again, you don't want to be that target that other teams are going after to foul, to stop the clock in the game possessions by you missing free throws. You don't want to be the guy that they're just always have to come out the game because you can't be in at those times. Yeah. So knocking down those free throws goes a long way of being able to play him. What did he play, 32 minutes?
Yeah.
He played, heavy minutes, and you can do that when you're knocking down those free throws. You're not a liability to the team. So 6 of 10, that's enough to beat you. Any coach is not probably going to play that game. Still late in the game, he'll be that guy that they will foul. I mean, when you think of the other 4 guys that he's in the game with, as far as free throw percentage, but again, you probably have him away from the ball unless he's going to finish.
The worst thing you could do, Kelvin, to a guy who's struggling from the line is talk about it, right? Make it a big deal out of it, right? Because, it's like putting, golf. It's all mental. The mechanics are there. You just got to step up and trust your mechanics, trust your reps that you've been doing in practice. The issue, what you just said right there, is if it's a close game, 2 minutes left, right, and they got a big guy on the other side, and you got to have Ballo in there on defense to be able to push up against him, but he's not knocking his shots down. That becomes the issue. I don't worry about Hackaballo until there's a late game situation where he can't be on the court because he's not knocking shots down. So, yeah, I just think, he's proven in the past he could shoot 65% or whatever, start off a little slow this year, but I'm not worried about long-term. He just has to stay confident in his mechanics, right?
And Umar spoke about that after the ball game in Phoenix.
I've been really working on my free throw lately, and I saw that the guy purposely tried to foul me, and my mindset was, okay, if he want to foul me, like, I got to make him pay for it. And I came out, and then I made some free throws.
And over the last 4 games, Oumar Ballo averaging 14 points and 9 rebounds. He's shooting 67% from the floor over the last 4 games. We've talked all season. He's got the highest, I believe right now, field goal percentage in program history. And that is a large reason why Tommy Lloyd will continue to make Oumar Ballo a primary focus of his offense.
O's coming on. You know, I've been around O a long time, and I think we're about, we're on the precipice here of getting, precipice, which means it's about to happen. Okay. That's make sure he's got it of Maui O. And he's right there for it. You know, he was really close today. Had some balls close that kind of just didn't bounce his way, but he's a physical force, and he demands a lot of attention, and so hey, he was physically able to battle Zach Edey for most of that game. So when there's no Zach Edey, there's a big O. And he's definitely an incredible force out there, and I think that he impacts the game at both ends of the floor, and I think he rebounded really well today, changed a bunch of shots around the rim, and just his physical force of putting his body on guys in the paint just wears them out, and then that free throw's looking pretty tight to me.
Looking pretty tight.
And DK, when J-Dub, when you are a coach, you have to pick your battles. You have to pick your battles, and sometimes people don't realize that you're playing a lot of guys that may have deficiencies in different areas. It may not be free throws, and that everybody see. You see the free throws getting missed because the guy's on the line and everybody's seeing what's going on. But the reality of it is that, hey man, if you're rebounding, you're playing defense for me, you're guarding other teams big. Hey, you can miss a few free throws. All right, I'll figure it out. And, sometime toward the end of the game if I have to. Because a lot of times what end up happening is you see in these games, even the games where he didn't shoot free throws well, it didn't hurt us because of the play in between the free throws. So again, as a coach, man, there's going to be different things. Of course, you would love every player to be perfect, but there's different things about every player that you're going to have to accept to get where you're trying to go.
You're talking KJ and Bradley's plus minus off the bench, right, in that first segment. I mean, come on. It's so hard to even, Kelvin, like, how do you even, like, track coming off your man to affect a shot? Not block a shot, because that goes in the stats. You get the block. But, Oumar in there pushing on guys, boxing out, creating other situations where other guys can get the rebound because he's putting his body on somebody. Yeah. Those kind of plays don't show up in the stat sheet, but as far as if the fans out there are like, you got to get Oumar off the court, he's not making free throws, bro, watch the game. He's doing a lot of positives like you just laid out there. He far outweighs, especially because we're not talking about, 2 for 10, right? We're talking about maybe like 1 for 4. It's not as if there's a high volume, so it's not going to even have a super high impact. But, man, Ballo is a plus for this team without a doubt.
Well, and just to remind folks, when you hear the phrase Maui O, that was the performance that he put up last year when the team went to the Maui Invitational and swept through that thing. And in the 3 ball games there, he had 21 and 10, 12 and 9, and 30 and 13, and shot 80% from the floor. That's one of the reasons why his 64% field goal percentage is right now the best in school history.
I think that's why some fans in the fan base, like, they look at that stretch and maybe they don't factor in that he got hurt after that. Like, he had a couple of nagging injuries, guys, and the 85%, super dominant against some really good competition over there in Maui. But similar to this year. He started out a little bit slow. I think he had a little nagging injury as well from the preseason. But yeah, as far as stability, Kelvin, you're going to need to have that guy out there again pushing up on guys, free throws or not. He's definitely going to.
And he was the number 1 target of the defenses coming in. People wasn't going out.
He was preseason player of the year in the conference,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
All the defenses were surrounded. If you were a coach, you was coming in, don't let Ballo beat you. Take away the big guy, double him, scratch him, claw him. They were really going after him, and he had to play through it. That's how you get those nagging little injuries on your fingers and stuff. Those guards coming in there chopping, doing karate on you. Trust me.
All right. Again, we want to hear from you on the show today. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to call. That is your spotlight on a cat.
And today's Spotlight on a Cat has been brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet.
And Umar Ballo out of Mali will be a focus today of this team that the Wildcats are playing, and that is the Florida Atlantic Owls. Umar, again, on the season total, averaging 13 points, 7 rebounds, shooting 65% on the floor for the season, and like I said, 64% for his career. This will be the only game played today in this. This is not like a selection of games, kind of like what we saw last weekend where there were 2 games against Purdue, or 2 games in Indianapolis, and then there were 4 games on Thursday, or Wednesday, I should say, up in Phoenix. This will be the only game of the day at the T-Mobile Arena between the Florida Atlantic Owls and the University of Arizona. And we will have that game coming up for you at 1 o'clock here. And then Pac-12 play starts. Next week, the Wildcats will go on the road to start conference play as they'll head up to Cal and Stanford Friday and Sunday. A little bit different setup, which is good for us because there's a big bowl game on Thursday. And you don't want to be dealing with 2 events on the same day if you don't have to. And then back to open up the home side of conference play after the first of the year, the 4th and the 6th. The Wildcats will take on the schools from the Rocky Mountain schools, and those that, of course, is Colorado and Utah. And don't forget that you can buy your tickets for that series. All you got to do is call 621-CATS or visit ArizonaWildcats.com and to get your tickets. And we appreciate Goldberg and Osborne, the injury lawyers, for sponsoring University of Arizona men's basketball. All right, that's going to wrap up our first hour. When we come back, much more in the second hour. Matt Muehlbach is going to join us from the beach volleyball courts in town here as he's watching his daughter. She's one fine volleyball player. I don't know if you guys have ever seen her play, but she's pretty good over at South for that powerful program over at South Point Catholic. And so we'll talk to Matt Muehlbach. Maybe we'll talk some beach volleyball with him. I don't know if he played much, but he probably looks like the kind of guy that could play a little volleyball in his day, kind of like Chase Buttinger. Is a pretty good pro on that side of the coin. It is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show, along with J.W. Madden and Kelvin Ifan. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
This hour of the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show is brought to you by Advanced Auto Care, Crest Insurance Group, Desert Diamond Casinos, First Chiropractic, Frog & Firkin, Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates, Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating and Plumbing, the Polston Results Team with Keller Williams, Southern Arizona, Royal GMC Buick and Cadillac, Royal Kia, Royal Jaguar Land Rover, the Window Depot.
What do you mean, trenchless?
Means no trench.
But it's the sewer line.
And they did it without ruining my yard.
The yard we're standing in?
The very same.
I don't know if I trust that.
I trust that because I trust them.
Them?
Ram Plumbing.
Locally owned and operated Ram Plumbing, offering a comprehensive range of plumbing services from fixtures to installation to trenchless sewer replacement. Turn to Tucson's most trusted plumber. When your plumbing's in trouble, call Ram on the double. Online at bestplumbertucson.com.
True Wildcat fans know that when you're looking for the best place to watch all the big games on big screens, drinking cold beer and having the best food, all paths lead to Desert Diamond. Bet on your Wildcats and all your favorite teams 24/7 on our easy-to-use kiosks. Come chill on our comfy couches and build your best bet at Arizona's best bet, the Desert Diamond Sportsbook and Bar.
An enterprise of the Thana Autumn Nation.
Problem gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Desert Diamond Casino is licensed in Arizona.
Here's an important message from University Termite and Pest Control. The weather is getting cooler here, and so rodents will be seeking alternative housing. Do you need a professional? Call University Termite and Pest Control, 886-4146. They've been serving Tucson since 1974. You can be assured University Termite and Pest Control will keep you pest-free using the most responsible products and application methods. 28 school districts, 3 hospitals, 2 colleges, 1 university, and thousands of homeowners trust University Termite and Pest Control. You can too. Call University Termite and Pest Control today at 886-4146 or go to bepestfree.com.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Buick GMC, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Buick GMC, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Buick GMC, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer-installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Buick GMC, in the Auto Mall and at RoyalTucson.com.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
Don't let heating or plumbing problems spoil your holidays. I'm Ron Arenas, the owner of Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. We'd like to wish you a safe and happy holiday season and a very Merry Christmas. When you need us, call 520-440-4069 for honest service to the Tucson area for over 22 years.
Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
The Window Depot is proud to sponsor the first look at today's game and would like to invite Arizona Wildcat fans to visit one of their Tucson warehouses. The Window Depot provides over 1,000 in-stock vinyl windows, interior and exterior doors, plus granite and quartz countertops, and a huge selection of custom cabinetry, all at the lowest prices in town. Consider the Window Depot your MVP when it comes to your home improvement needs. Stores are open Monday through Saturday, or order online at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Hi, this is Natalie Fernandez-Lee, President of Meridian Wealth Management. As a fiduciary investment firm, our clients have trusted us to guide them down their financial paths for decades. Whether you are an individual or family, business, foundation, or nonprofit, we are committed to your long-term goals and financial futures. We are proud supporters of the Tucson community and all that makes our city so special. Visit online at meridianwealthllc.com to learn more about Meridian.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Caruso's, a Tucson tradition since 1938, located on historic 4th Avenue. For 4 generations, Caruso's handmade sauce has been prepared with love by a family member, using only the best ingredients. Enjoy specialty Italian dishes like lasagna al forno, chicken tetrazzini, real Italian sausages, spectacular pizza, as well as many vegetarian options. Caruso's offers outdoor dining on their garden patio, with indoor dining also available. Open Tuesday through Sunday, with all your favorites available for takeout. For more information, call 520-624-5765 or visit their website at carusositalian.com.
This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tipoff Show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Arizona, number 4 in the country, taking on number 14, Florida Atlantic today in Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena. Tip-off coming up for you at 1 o'clock. We've got you for another 2 hours here on the local side before we hit the network, and then the Wildcats will look to wrap up non-conference play with a win. We want to talk to you this morning. If you've got something to say on the Wildcats, 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. And I'll remind you, text app to 520-848-1290, and you can get the link to download our app so you can take us wherever you want to go and listen to the show by way of our audio stream. You can also watch this show on a number of our platforms as we are streaming on Facebook Live. We are back up and streaming. Thank goodness. It's working at the moment. We're back up and streaming on Twitter at Wildcats1290, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch at Wildcats Radio 1290. The football team is getting on a plane today. The Wildcats will be heading to San Antonio. Hopefully the weather is a little bit nicer down there than it is here at the moment. I understand yesterday's rain was the most rain we've ever gotten on December 22nd in 109 years. 1914 was the last time it rained that much.
Yeah, I mean,
here in Southern
you
Arizona.
guys been
on
around the
December
city for a while.
22nd.
Like drizzly Seattle rain. I mean, that's not a thing, right? I mean, that's like maybe 2 days a year you get that drizzly 24 hours drizzle rain. So yeah, I'm not surprised at that number.
Yeah, 109 years. That's crazy. That it had not rained that much. Yeah, I mean, and we don't necessarily, again, we usually get the rain in January, but it's a little early for us to get a, quote, winter storm as we got yesterday here. All right, let's tell you what's coming up in hour number 2 of the program.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
All right, we're going to talk about Pella Larson coming up in this segment. We've also got the Pac-12 and NCAA scoreboard for you. Matt Muehlbach is going to have your view from courtside, brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates, the U of A guard, 1991. Our pest of the game, who is that guy that's going to get underneath the Wildcats' skin from Florida Atlantic today? Your best bets, the over-under today is 164. And Dusty May, as you will hear him say coming up, believes that this will be a game in the 80s. So we'll see how that plays out. Keys to the game and starting lineups, all that still straight ahead on the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off show. I want to go back to the second half because Pella Larson, I like to say Pella made a play. Pella made 3 plays here.
And the Tide will inbound the ball next to the Arizona bench. 10.5 to go, second half. Inbounds out to Nelson. Ball knocked away by Pella Larson. Pella with the steal. Gets it ahead. Bradley off to Love. Shot up, no good. Tipped in. And the Wildcats have taken the lead at 56-54. Huge change there. Alabama back the other way. Estrada out top to Nelson. Matched up on Larson. Handed back to Estrada. Drives in the paint. Little runners up. Short. Offensive foul. Give it back to the Cats.
Arizona's looking to Pella Larson defensively to guard Grant Nelson, but then he switched on to Aaron Estrada. That shows Arizona's versatility. That really good combo guard took Pella into the lane, and there's the man drawing the charge, Pella.
So in 152nd segment, Pella Larson dives on the floor to get a loose ball steal, gets back into the play to get a rebound putback, goes to the defensive end, and takes a charge.
Yeah, he would have got an assist too, right? So it would have been steal, assist, charge, but instead it was steal, offensive rebound, putback, and then he came off his man, right, Kelvin? I mean, that's the new rule change this year is they're looking at coming off your man, setting your feet, that whole thing. But he wasn't guarding. That's not who he was guarding in that spot. So, I mean, just amazing sequence there for Pella.
I thought that was his best game of the season. One of the best games I think I've seen him play in totality for what he did at the defensive end of the floor, for what he was able to do at the offensive end of the floor. And this goes back to something we've been talking about, Kelvin, on the afternoon show. And one of the things J-Dub had brought up was he wanted to see more drives to the basket by Pella Larson. We saw that ad nauseum in that game on Wednesday night against Alabama. He was really aggressive in taking the ball to the hoop.
Yeah, I mean, just with his physique, I mean, and his athleticism, he's the type of guy you want attacking the basket. He was a point guard coming out of Utah. So right there, he's a guy that could distribute the ball and find guys. I think he had a tough game. Was a versus Purdue, and I heard some talk, we need to make a change. I'm like, what? I'm like, man, look, I mean, you gonna give up on your kids? I mean, come on now. Things happen. I mean, in some games you don't have your best game, but this is the reason why he was so important as a sixth man, and this is the reason why he's important as a starter on this team this year, because he brings all those intangibles. He brings a winning attitude. You might not get the double-figure points all the time, but you're gonna get a championship effort as far as everything else concerned.
He's so strong, right, and like just committed, right, to finishing strong. And what I saw, guys, was I saw 2 fingers taped.
Yeah.
So after that issue he had where he went up for the loose ball early in that game, in the game against Purdue, and he came down hard on that finger, we noted that he didn't take any outside shots in that game after going 4 for 4 versus Wisconsin. Looking at his shot chart right here, he got up quite a few more shots in this game, but only 3 again from the outside. So he went strong, Kelvin. He went strong to the basket. You got your finger a little bit tender on your shooting hand. That's when you take it strong to the basket.
And let me say something about that, DK. Wow, J-Dub. I'm competitive because usually when most people hand get hurt, they avoid going in there where they know it might get touched
again.
And he's going,
and it
right.
did in that game. So the guy went up for a block and hit his hand on the basket. It looked like the bottom of the basket standard.
I mean, and usually people will bag away and make sure they're not doing anything that could put them in a situation to where you almost couldn't play the guy because they're trying to make sure they don't re-injure their hand. And he's doing opposite. He's taking it in there like, look, I know I can't shoot the ball like I normally can. I can't grip it. I thought he had a couple of turnovers that other night against Purdue. I thought because he was still trying to figure out that grip. One, you heard Coach Lloyd said, the new balls.
Yeah.
Right? We didn't think about that day. And I've heard it from several other teams, so that's not an excuse from Coach. But also that little injury that he had. But to see him adjust his game and say, you know what? My jump shot I got to get to the bucket right now. That's when you're trying to win. That's like playing at the park. That's like when you're playing at the park and you don't want to shoot a bunch of jump shots and take that chance of the other team getting to the cup. When you see guys getting to the basket, getting to the paint, they're there to win. They're there to win. I have no problem with the open threes. You know, I'm a guard. I understand that. But there's a different level when you see today. We're going to see that from Florida Atlantic. I mean, they're going to take their threes, but they're going to try to attack that rim and get you in foul trouble and get some and ones as well.
Yeah, and also like the defense that Alabama threw is similar to the FAU, right? Where they're trying to take away the passing options. They're trying to make you a one-on-one kind of situation. And so Pella recognized that. He's a veteran. I mean, he's been around a long time. He understands college basketball. So you look at his shot chart. I think in a lot of games, Kelvin, you're going to see Pella be aggressive. But that Wisconsin game, first couple shots fell, right? So he was kept shooting. And this shot chart I'm looking at here from Alabama game, it's all in the key other than a couple of shots. Like you said, I mean, it's winning time. The offense was really struggling there, especially when they got down early in the first half. Guy like that, your senior leader, one of your senior leaders, you know he's going to make things happen. And in that game, going to the cup. I love Pella wide open shot. I think he's got a really nice touch, really nice form. And one of the, like I've said many times, like you mentioned, DK, one of the best on the team at finishing strong at the rim. So if he can get past that first line of defense, and that's what clearly he did in that Alabama game.
Let's hear from Pella Larson on that hustle sequence.
Plays like that is going to come like every game, and you just got to be the most aggressive guy and dive for the ball first. And I think we did that multiple times, and I think that's why we won. We just wanted it a little bit more on those plays.
Not to mention diving on the floor with a bad hand. It says something.
And what it says is follow me.
Yeah.
And what it says is follow me without even having to speak the words.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing to have the verbal leadership, but there's another thing when you're actually doing the things that you asking the guys to do. You're taking the charges. You're diving on the floor. You're getting into the paint. I mean, when you see a guy making that effort, it just make you want to follow up and start doing the same.
Yeah, you could rest and get healthy in the offseason.
Yeah. Plenty time. I tell guys that all the time. I'm like, look, you got plenty time to rest, buddy. This is not it.
And the head coach also pretty impressed by that sequence of plays by Pella Larson.
Well, it was awesome because, I mean, we kind of just called, a late call from the bench to pick up. And, we saw, number 2, Nelson, who's a good player, but, he's generally not a guy that brings the ball up the court. And Pella can really pressure the ball. So Pella went up there, got after him a little bit. He mishandled it, and then Pella made an incredible hustle play. I mean, Pella plays so hard. It's really inspiring. And for him to, I'm not surprised one bit that he's, on both ends, the dive on the floor and the tip in on the same play.
Yeah, I mean, again, I thought at both ends, for me, it was just, he just stood out. When I was went back and watched the tape, I was like, oh, man, Pella up defending guys. Oh, Pella at the offensive end, being aggressive. I mean, he was just all over the tape on both sides of the court, and that was good to see because, again, especially in a game, like we said, when they got down early, you need those veteran guys to be the ones that begin to pull you out of it. And I think the way he defends kind of trickles down to those young guys like Jaden Bradley and KJ Lewis.
Yeah, totally agree. And I hear the talk, and I've heard a couple guys, Billis, I think it was for sure, said that he was the best NBA prospect on our team. That's what Billy said. And games like that last game, that's where I can see it. I couldn't. I'm like KJ Lewis, Boswell.
Yeah.
He might be the most game ready. Like, I think you could put him into a lineup rotation right now, and he's going to make plays. Here's the thing. The more basketball you watch, it's easy to look at John Morant highlights, Michael Jordan highlights, Kelvin, and be like, wow, that guy's good.
Yeah.
But the more basketball you watch, the more you'll appreciate guys like Pella.
Role players.
Don't need to be in the box score to be able to make a big difference in the game. And, he's always been that way since he first got on campus here. He just plays with so much force and purpose. And, his shots might not always fall, but that's not what it's all about. I mean, leading the nation in charges, drawn, always getting opportune rebounds. And like you said, start as a point guard. So it's like you need him to slide over and be a playmaker. He can do that. Just a great all-around basketball player.
And what I was saying was I saw it in that game, how he could affect an NBA game as a role player, doing all those things, taking the charges, guarding guys full court, making an extra pass, being able to get to the rim and finish. I was like, okay, that's the guy right there that they're talking about. And I've seen him do it several times, but that was it was just it amplified in that game.
All right, let's take a look at the college basketball scoreboard for this day before Christmas Eve.
The Pac-12 scoreboard is brought to you by Mesquite Valley Growers. Mesquite Valley Growers. Real growers, real experience, real nursery.
All right. In terms of the Pac-12, there is one game on the schedule, and it is us. Number 4, Arizona. Number 14, Florida Atlantic at the T-Mobile Arena in the Desert Holiday Classic. The only game on the conference scoreboard. There are only 4 games today in the entire top 25. So just 3 other contests. Number 25, Ole Miss, will be on the road in an in-state battle with Southern Miss. The Rebels are one of the last remaining teams in the top 25 who have not lost a game. Ole Miss is 11-0. Also today, after Arizona and Florida Atlantic get going out in Las Vegas, Vanderbilt will go on the road, another in-state battle. I guess if you got to play today, you want to play in-state. Vanderbilt will be in Memphis today at the FedEx Forum to take on number 23, the number 23 Tigers. Memphis is 9-2. Vanderbilt struggling to start the season at 4-7. And the last game of the day will be the UConn Huskies. They'll be home at the XL Center in Hartford. They'll welcome in St. John's. That should be a pretty interesting ball game as UConn coming off a loss to Seton Hall earlier this week. Now they'll get one of the other teams from New York City. St. John's comes in at 8-3 and UConn 10-2. Obviously, this is a Big East Conference game that those two teams will play today.
How long until St. John's is really good?
With that, and Rick Pitino's there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think they're starting to open some eyes this year.
Because, I mean, there's been spots, guys, in my life, Kelvin, like there's been a couple spots where St. John's got some big-time recruits. They put some big-time teams on the court. And I just feel like, we hear that sleeping giant term thrown around. But St. John's is a team, I think, with the right coach and a guy, he's not exactly like looking to shoot 53s like they did back in the day when he was doing things at Kentucky and with the Knicks. But yeah, I mean, I think that team, give it 2-3 years, and the Red Storm are going to be a tough out.
Well, they beat Utah this season already. They've got wins over Utah, West Virginia.
Beat Xavier by 15.
They beat Sean Miller's crew, lost, unfortunately, to Michigan. I believe Kerr Kriisa is playing now in West Virginia. I think he scored 20 points in his first game.
Okay.
I saw, but I don't think they're 4-7. So the Mountaineers are not having a very good season, and then they've lost their last 2 games to UMass and Radford. So I can't imagine that those are good losses for a West Virginia team that we will face a lot in the Big 12 coming up. Let's check in just to see what Mr. Kriisa has played 2 games. He scored 20 in his first game. He scored 3 points in his second game. So there you have it from Kerr Kriisa. All right. Matt Muehlbach will join us next, scheduled to join us next. We will have much more coming up for you. It is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show, along with J.W. Madden and Kelvin Ifan. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
That's been the Pac-12 Scoreboard, brought to you by Mesquite Valley Growers. Mesquite Valley Growers. Real growers, real experience, real nursery. This hour of the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show is brought to you by Blue Whale Car Wash, Caruso's Italian Restaurant, Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing, The Diamond Store, Goldberg and Osborne, Goodfellas AC, Humane Society of Southern Arizona, Lexus of Tucson, Nova Home Loans, Recon Auto Detail, Ride Now Power Sports Tucson, Tucson Police Department.
What up, Tucson? This is Joseph Blair, former Wildcat and assistant coach of the Washington Wizards. When I came to play basketball at the U of A in the 90s, the Tucson community became and has always remained a special part of my life. And this is why I proudly joined the Meridian Wealth Management Tucson Advisory Business Council. If you have financial questions or concerns, please be sure and call my friends Natalie or Ruben Fernandez at 719-1433 or visit online at Meridian Wealth LLC. And as always, bear down, Tucson.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills. Enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. And coming soon is Del Webb at Rockin' K, a 55-plus active adult community offering a rec center, world-class amenities that promote health and wellness, and new homes with refined interiors and stunning outdoor spaces. Live RockinK.com. Designed by Nature, proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Back to the holiday shopping adventures of Eugene Snarkle and his best friend Doug.
Hey, Eugene, we waited a little too long to get our shopping done. The shelves are looking pretty empty.
I was thinking of getting everyone a giant-sized bag of Cheezos.
We interrupt Eugene's great idea for this message.
Does your car, truck, SUV, or sleigh need a little maintenance to get road trip ready for the holidays? Check out jackfurriers.com for savings up to 50% off. Get your vehicle holiday road trip ready at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, here to get you there.
Broadway in Tucson presents the Rockin' 2023-2024 season featuring 8 blockbuster productions including Disney's Aladdin, The Book of Mormon, Hairspray, and Chicago. Enjoy the Southern Arizona musical premieres of Tina, the Tina Turner Musical, Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Time of the Temptations, MJ the Musical, and Mrs. Doubtfire. Secure your choice season tickets today and get the ultimate in flexibility and the lowest prices all season. Visit BroadwayInTucson.com and secure your season tickets today.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Buick GMC, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Buick GMC, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Buick GMC, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Buick GMC, in the Auto Mall and at RoyalTucson.com.
Saguaro Harley-Davidson is a pre-owned inventory destination with hundreds of pre-owned Harley-Davidson motorcycles to choose from. Save $2,000, $4,000, or even $6,000 at Saguaro Harley's pre-owned clearance sale. Now through the end of the month, Saguaro is accepting 100% of all credit applications with low financing options available. Take a test ride and receive a free dealer tee. Only at Saguaro Harley-Davidson or online at SaguaroHarley.com. Some restrictions may apply. OAC, see dealer for details.
Jingle all the way
to Desert Diamond Casino.
There are next level thrills, a whole lot of winning, and so much more in store this month.
Let's hear it.
First up, it's $1 Million Pro Football Frenzy and 10K Saturday. Then there's Holiday Gift Grab and the Road to Riches finale.
Wow!
And be sure to check out fantastic live entertainment at the Diamond Center with Gary Allen, clairvoyance, and more.
Rock on!
Then on New Year's Eve, it's New Year's Eve Hot Seats Frenzy at Sahuarita and Tucson. And you can win your share of $25,000 at Tucson with New Year's Eve Cash Train.
That's true, Tucson.
All this plus your favorite slots and table games, Arizona's finest sportsbook, and delicious food and drink specials.
It's all here at Desert Diamond Casinos.
True.
An enterprise of the Thana Autumn Nation.
See Rewards Center for details.
The Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show continues on the home of Arizona men's basketball, Wildcats Radio 1290. It's time now to take you down the front row of the arena. A view from courtside is brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, celebrating 25 years serving Southern Arizona.
let's talk to a guy that knows a little bit about being courtside. As a player for the University of Arizona, now he sits in a broadcast seat for the Pac-12 network. And I believe today he's sitting by the beach, or at least on some sand. Matt Muehlbach, Arizona basketball class of 1991. Matt, welcome to the program.
Hey guys, thanks, man. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I'm courtside right now at Tucson Racquet Club watching a little beach volleyball. It's just perfect weather for it.
All right, well, see, so I had my guy Jim Toffel on. A few weeks ago, and he obviously has taken over command there. He was telling me they've made some nice changes. So tell me about what you're seeing there right now.
Yeah, well, it's the Tucson high school now, and the Tucson girls beach volleyball scene is a pretty hot scene here in Tucson. So they have my daughters go to South Point and play on the beach team, and there's a lot of girls here that play. They have U of A's got a great team at the U of A, and with Coach Walker, and and then they also have a club over there, Walker Beach, and so it's a cool beach scene. It's a cool volleyball scene, and a lot of young girls are playing it these days. It's really fun.
So your daughters that you mentioned both play at South Point Catholic. They play both indoor and outdoor. Do they have a preference?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think my oldest daughter, for sure, her preference is beach. But she played both, and they both played both indoor and beach. They probably love the beach because they've won 3 state titles in a row. So that's probably where they you got to go where the rings are.
Exactly, for sure. Matt Muehlbach joining us,
right.
Arizona guard from 1991. Matt, just give us your thoughts on this team to this point. Obviously, the Wildcats heading into this final non-conference game. It's been a gauntlet of ranked teams, to which 5 ranked games that they've gone 4-1 in, and what you've seen and what you like about what Tommy Lloyd is putting on the floor this year.
Well, I think it's of course, like many of the Arizona teams throughout the year, super talented. But I think what I've seen, which has been great, is just the toughness, the physicality of this team. How hard they play, the resiliency, and I thought, you saw that the other night against Alabama. They didn't really play very well, in my opinion, especially early, and they just kept fighting. They just kept, being physical. They just kept kind of resilient, got after it, and at the end of the day, they kind of wore them down. It's almost like a football team that eventually wears you down with their depth, their talent, their physicality, and where you really see it. In fact, I remember when I played, Lute Olson used to have one stat that he would read at halftime, and that was the rebounding stat. And to him, that was the thing that measured toughness and how hard you're playing, and effort more than anything. And this Arizona team right now, kind of amazing. I think these are some of the best numbers we've ever seen, but number 3 in the nation in defensive rebounding percentage, and number 11 in offensive rebounding percentage. So I think those numbers really signify, the toughness and how hard they play.
And obviously, in a game like Wednesday, Matt, where you don't get off to that great start, and the ball is bouncing away from you, like we were saying at the top of the show, they couldn't buy a rebound early in that game. What's important about the mindset you have to kind of wade through that? I kind of categorized it as baseball, when you give up 6 runs in the first inning, but you still know you got 9 at bats left.
That's right. Yeah, there was a famous story back in the 80s of Jack Morris, the pitcher, and how hard he would pitch, and he gave up I think 5 runs in the first inning one time, and he told his team, "I've never lost when my team has scored 7 runs." So he's like, "I don't care if I gave up 5." And he told him, he's like, "I'm going to hang in there." And it's funny you say that as a great observation, because they didn't rebound it well early in that game. They were really bad rebounding, but a lot of that was because they were long 3-pointers. And I mean, they were 3-pointers, you get long rebounds. And so you got to kind of change your mindset and say, okay, we got to all box out. The guards got to help out. And that's what I really liked about their game the other night, is they didn't have their best. It was kind of their C, especially early. It was like their C plus game, but they just kept kind of hanging in there and kept battling, and one play at a time, and over the stretch of the game, they just wore them down.
Matt, this Kelvin.
What's up, Calvin? How you doing, man?
Oh man, I'm
Merry
doing
Christmas.
good. Oh yeah, Merry Christmas to
holidays.
you as well. I was gonna ask you about this. When you're struggling shooting threes, but the other team is trying to pack the paint on Balo, or any of our big guys on the inside, how important is it for the guys to still not lose that confidence and take those shots?
Yeah, 100%, because we saw that last year against Princeton, right? Princeton was packing the paint. I thought our guys got tentative and, lost their confidence, and they didn't want to shoot it. And especially tough when the other team's kind of daring you to shoot it. And I thought that's, again, the mindset this year. Like, to me, Caleb Love, that was a great example of him the other night. He was 0 for 8 to start the game or something, and that dude's just a dog, man. He just keeps fighting, and that's why I love the mindset of this team. Is you can't let a missed shot or two, affect you. And I know from experience, it used to affect me sometimes, right? And I would lose confidence. I'd miss a shot or two, and I mean, you got to work through that. And I like that our team does that this year. They seem to have a will and a mindset that's really strong that we haven't probably seen. In fact, I remember talking to you, Kelvin, the night before they played Houston 2 years ago in the NCAA tournament, and we were talking about, obviously, you're from I think Houston and Texas, and
Dallas.
and you were telling me about how tough those guys are from Dallas. I mean, yeah,
right.
But the Houston guys, you were like saying, hey, these dudes are like, they grew up playing football, basketball. They're tough guys, man. And I feel like this team has more of that than we've ever seen, or at least with Tommy's team in the last couple of years. They have a really tough, hard-nosed mindset, and you combine that with how much fun Tommy plays with in terms of letting it rip, how good they are on offense, and he wants to push it. I mean, it reminds me, and look, I know, people have said this, and it's probably an easy comparison, but it reminds me a lot of Lute Olson ball back in the day when you and I played.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I was going to say this other thing. What do you think about the KJ Lewises and the Jaden Bradley? How do you think those practices are? Because I remember when we used to play, man, I mean, we had guys, the practices were tougher than the games. So right now, with all this depth that they have at the guard position, I mean, what do you think those practices are like right now?
Man, I'll tell you, because it's funny you bring that up, because I thought KJ and Jaden were the key when they came off the bench on Wednesday. They really switched the game in both halves, the first half and the second half. And I know KJ's dad. Speaking of volleyball, KJ's sister played volleyball. I think her name was it Kate or Jay? I can't remember her name now. She played at Cienega or at Micah Mountain. Really good player, and his dad was a football player, and tough player. But anyway, those guys are ballers, man. KJ is outstanding. He's going to be. I think he's got a great future at the next level. But you're right. You're right, Kelvin. I mean, those practices, I bet those guys get after each other on defense, and both KJ and Jaden flip the switch when they come in. It's like, hey, I'm a guy that's looking forward to the bench coming in, and now I got to play guys that are probably better defensively than the starters.
We're joined by Arizona 1991 guard Matt Muehlbach with your view from courtside, brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser celebrating 25 years of serving Arizona. Matt, you had a pretty good seat for that Wisconsin game with a couple of your old teammates and Bruce Frazier and Steve Kerr. It's always nice when that was just an electric day to have those guys back in the building, and obviously Terry Francona sitting down there courtside. When you can have that type of alumni energy in the building, it's always a great thing. And it's interesting because We've talked this season about how these guys on this team seem to get the history, but we didn't really understand, and they alluded to it on the broadcast. I don't know if you guys saw that the other night, that Tommy has actually set up a system where he has, guys on this team being mentored and calling guys from the past. That's pretty impressive. I did not know till I saw that it went that deep in how he's trying to connect the past to the future.
Yeah, I didn't know he had the system. I'll tell you, it's interesting you bring that up. I went and saw those guys before they did their trip to Israel this summer, and which I a lot of times do. I'll go see him in the summer play, and Tommy actually had me speak to him, and he said, "Hey, would you mind talking to the guys? Just kind of whatever you want to talk about." He said, "I'm really," and I remember at that time, he said, "I'm really trying to, from a culture standpoint, because of all the transfers, because of the way guys move in and out these days at different programs." He said, "I'm really trying to make those guys understand what kind of program we have here and what kind of culture it has been in the family it's been for years." And then it's funny because when they went to Abu Dhabi after Israel, Kurt was actually there with the USA team, and he had Steve speak to him. And then interesting story was when we were at the Wisconsin game after it was over, the three of us, Steve and Q and I, Bruce Frazier, went into the locker room, and he had Q talk to him because Q had never talked to the team, so he talked to him after the game. And so it's cool. You could really see Tommy trying to, try to bring that history back and bring that kind of, love of the program and the family atmosphere that we've always had that Luke started here a long time ago.
All right, you gotta let us know why Bruce Frazier is known as Q.
Well, I guess years ago when he first came to U of A, supposedly he was asking a lot of questions, and I don't know if it was Brock Brunkhorst or someone said, "Q, why are you asking so many questions?" And so he started calling him Q for all the questions, and it stuck. It's now here it is 40 years later. He still got it.
That's awesome. I love hearing how nicknames come together for guys that have played sports here at the University of Arizona. And we were talking about your daughters earlier, Matt. So and have you ever is volleyball? Was that anything you ever did? Being a basketball guy, I know a lot of basketball guys that have dabbled in volleyball as well. Did you play in the past? Do you play now at all? You get out there on the beach at all and try to hop up and get a kill or two?
I don't, and I never did. I grew up in the Bay Area, man. I grew up in Oakland. There wasn't a lot of volleyball playing in Oakland when I was growing up. And but the funny part was when I got to school, all my buddies, those guys all played, and they would pepper all the time. Judd Bushler was an incredible volleyball player. He had a full at UCLA for volleyball and basketball. But like we said, Q was a volleyball player. Grew up on the beach in Long Beach, and Steve was Kerr was a volleyball player. All those guys were, so it's kind of funny because they would play all the time, and I thought it was kind of stupid. And now I'm a volleyball junkie. I love it. I love watching my daughters. I love watching other kids play. It's an amazing sport. And the funny thing is that all these girls that play, high school and college volleyball, you look up and like half of them, their dads play basketball.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, Kerr's daughter was on the team at Cal, right?
Well, it's crazy. Kerr's daughter was at Cal. Judd's daughter played at
UCLA, yeah.
Joe Turner's daughter played at U of A. Harvey Mason's daughter played indoor and beach at the U of A.
Ray O's daughter played.
Ray O's daughter was at USC, right?
Yeah.
So it's an incredible, I don't know what it is. I think women's volleyball is really a lot like men's basketball. There's a ton of skill. Usually height has a huge advantage, and the girls with height and athleticism, you saw it if anybody saw the college volleyball just now.
Yeah.
Asia
Yeah.
O'Neal was the daughter of Jermaine O'Neal.
Right.
Brian Skinner's daughter, who played in the NBA for 15 years, was awesome for Texas. So anyway, it's an awesome sport actually.
Wow. I mean, I think I've said ever since I fell in love with it in college. When I first got to college and started covering sports, I was like, oh, I'll cover women's volleyball, and I was kind of the beat reporter my freshman year, and I was like, I fell in love with the game then, and I still say it's my favorite of all the college sports on the women's side that I most enjoy watching, just because of the athleticism that they play with and whatnot on the floor.
I'm with you.
Hey, Matt, we appreciate.
I'm with you, and we gotta support our U of A team with Coach Rita.
Yeah.
That's took over for Dave Rubio. She was a freshman when I was a senior, and came in here and played volleyball, I believe, from Cleveland. So I'm with you. I'm with you, David.
She is indeed a Cleveland girl. Rita Stubbs doing a great job over there in building the program. She's got the number 7 recruiting class coming out in 2024 with the number 1 recruit in the country. So hopefully it'll be a quick turnaround for Charita after a not so great first season. Hey, Matt,
That's right. Yeah, too. You got to hang with your Cleveland buddies, huh?
Exactly. You always got to support the C-Town folks. No question about that. Matt, we appreciate you taking a few minutes away. Get back to enjoying your children on this second day before Christmas, and we'll talk to you again down the road.
Yeah, see you guys. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you too. Matt Muehlbach, U of A basketball class of 1991, with your view from courtside.
We hope you enjoyed your view from courtside. It was brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, celebrating 25 years serving Southern Arizona.
All right, much more still ahead on this edition of the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off show with Kelvin Efon and J.W. Madden. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Well, it's that time of year. You dress the kids up for the holiday parties, and they hate it. You dress everybody up for the annual holiday card picture, and, well, everybody hates that. You even dress the turkey, and we're pretty sure he's not happy about that. This year, dress up your yard in time for the holidays. Call Dorado Rockin' Materials, and we promise there will be no complaints. Make your yard beautiful and worry-free with their personal service and convenient delivery times. Dorado Rockin' Materials. The right service, the right product, the right price.
Here's an important message from University Termite and Pest Control. The weather is getting cooler here, and so rodents will be seeking alternative housing. Do you need a professional? Call University Termite and Pest Control, 886-4146. They've been serving Tucson since 1974. You can be assured University Termite and Pest Control will keep you pest-free using the most responsible products and application methods. 28 school districts, 3 hospitals, 2 colleges, 1 university, and thousands of homeowners trust University Termite and Pest Control. You can too. Call University Termite and Pest Control today at 886-4146 or go to bepestfree.com.
Coach Tommy Lloyd here. Did you spend money on your AC this summer? My friends at Rightway will give you back up to $3,000 for those repairs.
That's right. No matter who did the repair, we'll buy it back for up to $3,000 towards the purchase of a new heating and air system.
No repair bills this year? No worries. We will give you up to $2,000 trade-in plus 0% interest up to 60 months. Manufacturer rebates plus 10-year parts and labor warranty on a new heating and air system.
Have an aging heating and air system? Out of warranty? We'll inspect it absolutely free. Call Rightway Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing today.
Cantina nachos, strawberry watermelon margaritas, a few zombie kills, and all your favorite sports teams live? When your day calls for some winning, it's time for Dave & Buster's, where you can eat, drink, play, and watch all the sports you want. They've got massive HD TVs, hundreds of the hottest new games, a chef-crafted menu, and an incredible list of beers, wines, and cocktails. So remember, if your day calls for a little victory, a little triumph, a little win, it's probably calling for Dave & Buster's.
Southern Arizona Radiology Associates have been dedicated to providing superior images and quality care for the last 35 years. They're the one you trust when you need an X-ray, CT scan, ultrasound, mammogram, or MRI. They have locations in Tucson, Green Valley, and Sierra Vista. Ask your doctor to refer you to Southern Arizona Radiology Associates today. That's Southern Arizona Radiology Associates. Visit their website at sararadiology.com or call 520-335-6849 for more information.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Buick GMC, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Buick GMC, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Buick GMC, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Buick GMC, in the Auto Mall and at RoyalTucson.com.
Desperate buyers have created tremendous opportunity for sellers. If you've had the slightest thought of selling your home, it's time to call Sean Poston with the Poston Results Team at Keller Williams, Southern Arizona. Why choose the Poston Results Team? Past performance, more money in your pocket, over a 65% referral rate, an incredible Poston Results Team staff, and most important, communication, because you and your home matter. The Poston Results Team. When buying and selling really matter, go to TucsonHomeValues.com. That's TucsonHomeValues with an S.com.
Direct from Vegas, The Clairvoyance Holiday Spectacular, a brand new interactive show for the holiday season, featuring mind reading, magic tricks, and illusions, with a special appearance by Mr. Coney Hondini, the world's first mind-reading dog. Saturday, December 23rd, 8 p.m., Diamond Center at Desert Diamond Casino Sahuarita. On sale at Desert Diamond Reward Center or online at etix.com. Experience The Clairvoyance live.
This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown and Tipoff Show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Mid-stripe, Estrada there to guard him. Oswell now on the switch, picked up by Nelson, drives him all the way to the bucket and just lays it in right around him.
Take the mismatch, take the big man to the rim.
Arizona and Florida Atlantic is coming up in Las Vegas. Tip-off coming up at 1 o'clock. We've got you for about another hour and 15 minutes here. Before we send it over to the network, 520-848-1290. We'd love to talk to you about this game today and what the Wildcats have in store for them against a Florida Atlantic team that comes in as a club that went to the Final Four, and we'll begin to dive more into them in the next hour and hear more from head coach Dusty May. And I mean, just again, it was like, I think last year it was like everybody was kind of Florida Atlantic who, having never really been a program that had been on the national lexicon, but Dusty May found the right ingredients, and it'll be interesting to hear from him just kind of how they built the program, how it's very similar to Tommy Lloyd and his system, and we'll hear from Dusty May and all of that coming up for you just a little bit later in today's show. Tommy Lloyd, though, did something in the game against Alabama that he had never done before.
Reitzel hounded by Boswell, knocks the ball into backcourt. Kylan diving for it. Ball is out of bounds off of Boswell. Tommy Lloyd upset again. And he's barking at the officials right now. Boswell had a hand on it, and then somebody dove on top of him. That's why Tommy's angry right now that there was
absolutely
no call.
Reitzel did not make a play on the basketball. Kylan Boswell dove and had his hands on the ball, and Reitzel just fell down and landed on Boswell on purpose.
And now Tommy Lloyd's been teed up here. He continued his argument. He wasn't actually talking to the officials at that time. He was actually looking towards the official scorers table and maybe just said something that was overheard. And
yeah, he was. JW, you mentioned it on the postgame show the other night. He was talking to the official's boss, which you probably don't want to do.
I think that's what they said on the broadcast, was that the head of officiating was sitting there courtside. So, yeah, if you have an issue with the official and then you go over and say, hey, your buddy over here is not quite doing his job too well, then yeah, I think that was probably the case of why he got teed up.
I would assume that's not a good idea to be going over the game official's head in the middle of the game. That's probably an unwritten rule of something that as a coach you probably should not do.
But Calvin, I mean, come on, bro. Like, you would have gotten a tee there as a coach. I mean, come on, that's your guy diving. First of all, number one, diving for loose balls. That's number one hustle plays to get wins. So you got to commend Boswell for that. But, the player on the other side just literally just jumped on his back. And so he had every right to be angry about that.
And it was a continuation. I mean, it was a continuation of a first half that saw a lot of calls not go in favor of the Arizona Wildcats.
We talked post game about that like they let him play. And it was really loose. They didn't call a lot of fouls there in the first 8-9 minutes. It got chippy. Then the team started getting a little too physical, Kelvin. And I think at that point the refs kind of rein it in. So that's the situation where you'll see very few fouls called for the first 8 minutes, and then just a flurry of fouls called for the next 3 minutes because the refs are trying to keep the guys level-headed, right?
Yeah, but then you missed that one. Hey, then you missed the one as a coach. You're like, now wait a minute. Now that's the one. And then you turn and we all know, coaches know, if you ever try to go over their head, they coming for you. So he got it in real time right there.
All right, let's hear from Tommy Lloyd on his first technical as a head coach in college basketball.
I mean, I didn't say anything, but he said I look and maybe at our head of officials, and that's fine. I mean, hey, you know what? It was going to happen, and Rob's a really good official, and getting it technical is not something I ever aspire to do, but it happened, and, we'll move on. I mean, I'm not going to dwell on it.
I just wish there was some accountability, right? I mean, I just wish that, we get what's it, the 2-minute thing in the NBA where they'll go back and review the last calls in the last 2 minutes of games, and they'll tell you, hey, we missed this, that was this. But, I mean, again, I think Coach Lloyd probably deserves a technical there, a little animated. I think he came out to half court. Is really he kind of came out on the court. But as far as the call itself, fellas, right? I mean, not making a play on the ball, Kelvin. I mean, I just wish there was some accountability somewhere along the way where they say, oh, yeah, it's our bad. That should have been a foul and all that.
That'll never happen. That'll never happen. No. I don't think that'll never happen.
So there's the age old adage that when your team's not playing well, that a technical can get the guys going. Did you buy into that as a player that works?
I do think it works. I do think it works because, I mean, you know your coach ain't playing. I mean, and he's serious, and it kind of gets you hyped up because you want to have your coach's back because he just got a call on him, and you want to have his back. You want to play a little bit better. As a coach, you kind of expecting and hoping that the guys realize that you're protecting them and they play a little bit hard as well because you know when you get loud like that or when you kind of come out the ref what could happen. But you're trying to motivate your guys and you're trying to get the game, ref fairly.
That's the Gene Hackman rule, right? Because he got thrown out. He threw himself. He got kicked out on purpose, right?
You tell the referee, hey.
Kick me out.
Kick me out.
Kick me out. I want to get out of here, yeah.
Hey, ref, my guys, they looking bad over here. I got to do something.
All right, who is that Florida Atlantic Owl who is going to swoop down and cause problems for Arizona today?
Who is today's Pest of the Game? The Pest of the Game is brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. Check them out at BePestFree.com.
All right, you guys know I like to go with the reserves, so I'm going to stay for that. I'm going to stay with that because we're going to hear from Dusty May coming up here shortly, and he really liked the way his reserves played in the Owls win over St. Bonaventure. So I'm going to go with Brian Greenlee off the bench here. He scores about 9 points a game. I like a guy that maybe can come in and get some steals, which he does that as well. He's third on the team in steals, and so Brian Greenlee, but he can also dish it out. He leads the team in assists. So he's a guy, and he's actually had to start some games this year because Nick Boyd, I believe, is their normal point guard, has been out with an injury for a large part of the season and just started playing again after missing, started the season, then got hurt and missed a bunch of games. So I'm going to go with Brian Greenlee as my Pest of the Game today.
I like that one for sure. He's a great assist guy, 3-point shooter. He's a guy that I have right here as one of my pests as well. But I'm going to go with Elijah Martin, 6'2", 210. I think he's probably the definition of pest when we think about it because he's a positionless guy. I don't know what position he really plays. Small forward, power forward, but he just gets the job done. 6'2", 210. I mean, just he's the definition of what a pest is.
Yeah, and the only other guy left over really is Jonell Davis. So, I mean, you're talking about 3 guys who all average 1.5 or more steals per game, fellas. So I think, yeah, that's all 3 of those guys. I'll go with Jonell Davis just because, again, same kind of reasoning. When a dude can just fill up the stat sheet, you don't want to let that guy go. You don't want to let him get going. And they're really disruptive on defense. You're talking about steals and being a pest. I think all 3 of those guys can really affect the game. They're trying to get in the passing lanes, Kelvin, and make sure that those passes are not easy. That's a big function of their defense. So you got to watch out for, I think, all those guys on the perimeter today for sure.
All right, so I'm dealing with some issues here with this darn program. So Brian Greenlee, say you're again for Kelvin was
Elijah Martin.
Elijah Martin and UJ-Dub were
Jonell Davis.
Jonell Davis. Okay, so those 3 guys will be our pests of the game today.
That's today's Pest of the Game. The Pest of the Game is brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. Visit BePestFree.com.
So nobody's going with the 7-footer. We'll get into him a little bit later. There's another 7-footer in this game today. We've been dealing with 7-footers every Saturday, it seems, and there's another 7-footer.
We might have to come up with another, what we're going to call it, beast of the game.
We already made that joke last week about pest of the game can't be a 7-footer.
Okay.
Pest got to be a little guy.
Vladislav Golden is the 7-footer that the Wildcats will have to deal with today. He's a junior out of Nalchik, Russia, played at Texas Tech, so he's a transfer into this program, and we'll get into him a little bit later as well. Wildcats and the Florida Atlantic Owls today. This is the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show. We are also brought to you by Dave & Buster's. Dave & Buster's is the best place to eat, drink, and play while watching today's game between the Wildcats and the Owls. We're going to have much more coming up for you. We've got 1 hour left to go in the program today. We will have our keys to the game straight ahead, as well as best bets and all of that good stuff still to come. And we will go further in depth on Florida Atlantic. We'll chat with Frank Fort, who is a broadcaster on their side. He hosts the Inside the Owls Burrow. You know what a burrow is? Maybe we'll teach you a little class on what a burrow is and why
how
that's
do you spell
effective
it? Depends how you spell it.
Burrow, B-U-R-R-O-W,
with a G-H?
I believe is how they spell it.
Yeah, that's like where.
Yeah, not the borough like in Queens.
Yeah, both could be true.
Yeah, not that. These owls don't come from that.
Well, there are owls actually in the world who live in the ground and they live in burrows.
Okay. Yeah. Well, no, that's the definition of their burrow.
Yeah.
But not like.
And there are also owls in Queens that live in burrows.
Oh gosh, J-Dub, he's back, ladies and gentlemen. J-Dub is here. He's announced himself here. All
like
right.
1/3, maybe.
1/3.
Maybe a quarter.
Okay. All right. 520-848-1290 is the number. If you want to talk to us about Arizona basketball with Kelvin Efon and JW Madden, I'm David Kelly. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
This hour of the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show is brought to you by Blue Whale Car Wash, Caruso's Italian Restaurant, Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing, The Diamond Store, Goldberg and Osborne, Goodfellas AC, Humane Society of Southern Arizona, Lexus of Tucson, Nova Home Loans, Recon Auto Detail, Ride Now Power Sports Tucson Police Department.
Frog and Firkin, a standout among the bars and restaurants in the University area. Frog and Firkin does what very few pubs can, combine a festive atmosphere and great beer with a menu that could stand on its own in any restaurant setting. A sports enthusiast dream with over 30 TVs, 30 beers on tap, and over 100 import and domestic bottles. Daily drink and food specials, and the kitchen is serving until 10. A standout in the University area. Frog and Firkin. Eat local, support local. frogandfirkin.com.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
The Window Depot is proud to sponsor the first look at today's game and would like to invite Arizona Wildcat fans to visit one of their Tucson warehouses. The Window Depot provides over 1,000 in-stock vinyl windows, interior and exterior doors, plus granite and quartz countertops, and a huge selection of custom cabinetry, all at the lowest prices in town. Consider the Window Depot your MVP when it comes to your home improvement needs. Stores are open Monday through Saturday, or order online at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
The universal truth of women's shoes. The cuter they are, the more they hurt.
You have to put your best foot forward, and if your best foot is an ugly shoe, oh my goodness.
Lisa Ann thought she had to choose between looking good and feeling good until she got fitted for arch supports at the Good Feet store.
Now I can wear the shoes that I've picked out because I like the way they look, not because they were comfortable.
Good Feet relieved her pain and her fashion dilemma. Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
Go to the Good Feet store at 4811 East Grant Road or at goodfeet.com.
As a homeowner, you've probably seen some pretty bad plumbing problems.
Yeah, I've seen a few.
We've seen them all.
All of them?
Rams Plumbing kept entire buildings flowing. Businesses since 1983.
Wow, so whatever happens to my house...
We've seen it before, and we have the solution. Locally owned and operated, Ram Plumbing is Tucson's most trusted plumber. Our team of licensed professionals can fix anything your home can dish out. When your plumbing's in trouble, call Ram on the double. Online at bestplumbertucson.com.
The new Blue Whale Car Wash, formerly Octopus Car Wash, is now open. They're locally owned and operated and offer many ways for you to save. Start now by downloading the Blue Whale Car Wash app. Then visit their website at bluewhalecarwashaz.com to find a location near you. Don't forget to follow them on Instagram and Facebook for even more saving. And for a limited time, their exterior-only wash is $5 at all 4 locations. From the family at Blue Whale Car Wash to your family, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
We return now to the holiday shopping adventures of Eugene Snarkle and his best friend Doug.
Eugene, it looks like we waited a bit too long to get our shopping done. These shelves are pretty empty.
Yeah, Doug, looks like everything got sucked up into that great big cyber savings vortex. But I've got another great idea.
We interrupt Eugene's great ideas for this commercial message.
Trying to get on the road but need some maintenance or repairs to get your car, truck, SUV, or sleigh road trip ready?
Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care has some fantastic year-end savings, like $50 back on any $250 purchase. When you pay with your Jack Furrier card, you save big.
Whether it's tires, maintenance, or auto repair, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care has you covered. We can get your vehicle road trip ready and save you some big bucks.
So, Eugene, what was that great idea of yours anyway?
I was thinking about getting everybody a giant-sized bag of Cheezos.
Thanks, Eugene. And for everyone else, there's Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care since 1960 here to get you there.
The Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show continues on the home of Arizona men's basketball, Wildcats Radio 1290.
Final hour of our portion of the pregame show as we get set for Arizona and Florida Atlantic today. Let's tell you what we've got coming up in this final hour for you.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
All right, we're going to hear from Dusty May in this segment, the head coach of the Florida Atlantic Owls, as well as get you your best bets. Arizona, a 7-point favorite, over under coming in at 164 today. Frank Fort will join us for the opponent scouting report, brought to you by Ram Plumbing. When your plumbing is in trouble, call Ram on the double. And Frank Fort is with Inside the Owls Burrow. We'll have our keys to the game and our starting lineup. Why do owls burrow? Nesting owls tend to use areas with a high density of surrounding burrows, which may provide extra escape options for developing their young. Of course, I'm reading this offline. I'm not citing this from anything that's out of my puny brain.
You don't know all about owls?
No. Preferred sites have loose soil, a bit of elevation to avoid flooding, and nearby lookouts such as dirt mounds, bushes, fence posts, or road signs. I'm again, owls are birds. So the question would be, why would an owl live underground? If you are in, what are those people called that deal with animals?
Animal people. I will tell you
That's
this.
not the phrase I was looking
I'll
for.
tell you this. What I do know about owls is that they are one of the most efficient predators.
Yeah.
But on the other side of that is they're kind of fragile in a way. And so I would assume it has something to do with just, again, escapability, but just the overall knowledge that they're going to be safer in a burrow underground than they would be, in that habitat. And it's only the smaller ones. You're not talking about like great horned owls,
Yeah.
barn owls. They're not burrowing underground. And I think they do the thing that like saguaro animals do, that they reuse a burrow that some rodent or whatever has made, type of thing, right?
I think I was watching one of those. We should probably call our guy Hubert Parker from over at the Tucson Wildlife Center. We had him on our Tucson Review show last week. He could probably answer the question for us to why owls burrow and what. I think I was watching one of those nature shows at one point where the owl was burrowing to escape from a fox or something like that. The fox was like, it was on a golf course or something like that, and the fox was just like all over the place, and he was trying to get into the hole to get to the owl, but the owl just kept outsmarting the fox because, foxes aren't that intelligent, right? Okay, let's...
Clever. I thought it was clever like a fox.
Clever like a fox.
Not smart. Not smart, though.
All right, Florida Atlantic enters this ball game today with a record of 9-2. Their two losses are to Bryant and to number 20 Illinois, and they lost that game by a whole lot, by 9 points earlier this season. But they are coming off a win against St. Bonaventure that came a week ago today. So they've had a week to prepare for this one, and the head coach Dusty May was particularly impressed, as I had mentioned before, with his players off the bench.
There were a couple things that really jumped out. First and foremost, B.J. Greenlee and Brennan Lorient, how much of an impact they had on the game. And those two guys that I just mentioned, B.J. was 3 for 7 and Brennan was 1 for 2. So they were 4 for 9 from the field. Just a solid stat line. But I thought their energy, their defensive pressure changed the complexion of the game. And then Giancarlo Rosado, the same thing. I thought his ball movement, his body movement, I thought he just gave us a jolt of energy when he came in the game. He was very decisive with his offense and what he was looking for. And then obviously Nick Boyd being out, the first half he's a little bit rusty. I thought he played really well in the second half and added a new dimension offensively where he was able to get downhill, get to the rim and finish a couple times. And then like any defense, they then reacted to that and we were able to get Vlad a few dunks and whatnot. So overall pleased because we didn't play that very well in the offensive end and found a way to grind one out.
You heard him mention Vlad. That would be the big man, 7'1", Vladislav Golden is his name. And he is, again, out of Nalchek, Russia, by way of Texas Tech. Vlad Golden averaging 17 points per ball game, shooting 80% from the field, averaging 7 rebounds and 2 blocks per ball game. So, does Dusty May think that the Wildcats are going to put their focus on Vlad Golden today?
I think the way they played Edey, they gave him a lot of attention. But we're built different than Purdue. I think if Arizona was trying to neutralize Edey, they did a good job, but they let the other guys get going. So you never really know or if the other team's going to try to neutralize Vlad and let our perimeter guys, or if they're going to stay at home and feel like they can guard him one-on-one. I thought Saturday, St. Bonaventure tried to neutralize Vlad, especially on his high-lows. They were very physical with him. And then also Nelly, and it allowed us, some other guys, to create advantages. So however they play us, we've got to build just on the fly. That's the beauty of having a veteran team. Our guys know how to play basketball at a pretty high level. And so, we go into it thinking they're probably going to be taking away our three-point shots because that's kind of been the scout against us for years.
Coach, as Maddox mentioned earlier, it obviously would have been a great opportunity for his team to
take a top-ranked team in the country for the first time in program history. But obviously, the loss to Purdue changes things for Arizona, falling down to 4. Regardless, this is the highest-ranked team FU has ever faced in its program history. What's the expectation heading into that type of matchup, which is going to be a blockbuster one, considering it will be in Las Vegas?
The only expectation is to go play really good basketball, frame by frame. I wouldn't be shocked if this game got up into the 80s possessions-wise. They want to play fast. We want to play fast. And so I think just play really good ball for 80, as many possessions as we can, understanding there's going to be errors, there's going to be mistakes, while playing through those mistakes, expecting them, countering them, and hopefully our speed and athleticism and as quickly as we think can offset the mistakes. But we don't have any grand expectations of storming the court. We think we match up with anyone in the country when we're playing good basketball, and so the expectations for us, they never change.
Coach, so against Purdue, the Wildcats had 2 players who scored over 20 points, Caleb Love and Kashad Johnson. How would you guys stop those 2 players from scoring big? And what ways are you guys working for that in practice? Is that like a top priority in practice defensively, or like how are you guys going to prepare for that?
Arizona, they have a lot of top priority guys. I can't go into the game and say that these 2 guys are this or these 2 guys are that, because it doesn't take long to identify Boswell and Ballo and Larson. They have a lot of top of the scouting report type of guys. So we're going to have to do a great job, cumulative effort, and also do an exceptional job forcing catches outside of comfort zones, being there on the catch, defending one-on-one well. So, yeah, I can't say that we're going into it saying we've got to take Love and Keshad Johnson out of the game. I would love to, but we also have to do a really good job on the other guys, because they have really, really good players. Their system is very, very unique, and they because it's not new to them, even though they have new players, they adjust and counter what you're trying to do really, really well. So we've got to change some coverages, change some things up to keep them off balance, but it still comes down to what I said a minute ago, playing really good basketball, team ball connected for 40 minutes, frame by frame.
And what are some similarities you've seen between Arizona and FAU this season?
Older teams, veteran guys that are really good basketball players. They play, they're a little bit bigger than us. Hopefully we're a little bit faster. They're very, very well coached. So if anyone compared us to Arizona, then I would take it as a compliment.
Coach, Arizona has the best rebound margin in the nation with 15. What do you guys need to do to win the rebound game and get those second chance opportunities offensively and prevent those second chance opportunities for Arizona?
Well, they're huge across the board, and they play more of a 3-out, 2-in, or even 4-out, 1-in with a cutter going in. So they put a lot of pressure on the basket. And so we have to do a great job of staying on balance defensively, trying to not to be in continuous rotations where we can get hits and then we've got to rebound it with 5 guys. We've got to use our speed, our quickness, and just figure out a way to get the ball. And then if we do that, hopefully we can capitalize in transition. But they're a really, really tough matchup because they rebound it so well. They get so many layups at every single game because they sprint the floor. Their bigs rim run as well as anyone that I've seen this year. Their wings run. And they're running for layups and dunks. And then you factor that in with their physicality around the rim and then their offensive rebounding. They just get so many shots at the basket. And between the transition defense and defensive rebound, we have to do a good job of not letting them get near as many as they typically do. And if they do, then we're going to have to score at a really high clip.
All right. That is the head coach of the Florida Atlantic Owls, Dusty May.
I like that part where he said, Kelvin, that Arizona's got a lot of guys at the top of the scout.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
I guarantee you about 7.
Yeah, and you can't really focus on one. It's very interesting. But let's talk a little bit about their big man, Vlad Golden. He has been a primary starter from him. Now this is his 3rd season. We mentioned he went to Texas Tech. That was his freshman year. He played in only 10 games there, but has been a pretty good developing force. Averaged 7 points his first year at Florida Atlantic, 10 last year, and now up to 15 points per game to go along with 7 rebounds. Is this a big man that could potentially dominate this game today, or is he kind of a guy that just kind of fits into their system as a whole?
I think he kind of fits into their system as a whole. I think versus lesser teams, he has a little bit more of a chance of dominating because they don't have 7-footer like Ballo. But I think he's gonna have some work on the defensive end, trying to contend with Ballo today, and with our guy Keyshawn Johnson, guys going to the basket and trying to contend with those guys. There's not a lot of size on the team. He is the size, so he has rebounding responsibilities and low post scoring responsibilities. But I could see Ballo taking him away.
And this is the kind of team, I think, in Florida Atlantic, it's built, and you heard him say there, they've kind of built it in the eyes of what they were doing at Gonzaga, European bigs, wings, that kind of thing is kind of their modus operandi. And they're also a team that's very good at passing the basketball. They average 15 assists per ball game, so that's another aspect of this whole thing in terms of how we've seen Tommy Lloyd's system run. That's very reminiscent of what Florida Atlantic does. I believe they've got 7 guys on their team who have double digits in assists, and so very interesting that he thinks maybe they could be a faster team than Arizona today.
Well, they better be faster. They're a smaller team, and I think that's the reason why. A lot of times at smaller schools, you can't necessarily recruit the high-level athlete, the 6'6", 6'7" guard that could just play anywhere on the court. So as you notice, 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", 6'3" type of guys that he have, but you have more guards, so you want to push the ball, you want to push the pace, you want to run faster, take more risk, jumping in passing lanes and things like that. They really try to heat you up as far as that means really getting up in you man to man defensively, trying to cause some problems.
So how do you think then that Tommy Lloyd will react to that today? If he's like Dusty May said, at times they may have 4 guards on the floor. Does Tommy, I mean, obviously if you got the 7-footer in the game, I think you're going to stick with Umar Ballo. But if they take Golden off the floor, do you go small with that lineup where you have KJ at the 5?
You could, but with Keyshawn at the 5, but you could.
Keyshawn, I mean.
Yeah, you could do that, but I think you punish him with Ballo at that point. I mean, if that guy comes off the court, punish him with Ballo or even Krivas. I would love to see Krivas in the game as well. But just because the other team goes small, don't mean you have to go small as well.
Yeah.
Right? You can – go ahead, Jada.
I was going to say, you got Pella Larson and Keyshawn Johnson, right? So, I mean, you're talking about those guys are versatile. So, most teams, when they go small, you're talking about taking out all your forwards. Obviously, you want to match up with the center, but they're going 4 guards and a big. It's not as if those guys, Kelvin, that you got in that starting lineup can't shift over and do a lot of different things. And so it's really hard, I think, to outpace this Arizona Wildcats team just because there's so much versatility in that front court, and those wing players is really what it is.
And what and what DK was alluding to, I actually like that team. J Dub know me. I love guards on the floor, and I think with Keyshawn at the 5.
I think Pella is the best power forward in the country when they go small.
Pella is at Pella at the power forward, with him and KJ being interchangeable there, because either one of those guys could guard your power forward. And then, of course, we know the 3 guards that we would have, with Jaden Bradley in the game, and Boswell and Love. I just think that's probably one of the fastest teams in the nation if you could get those guys and give them some significant minutes. But having Ballo and Krivas, you can't really take them out the game because, one, they're running the floor as well, and it's just tough to deal with them on that post, I believe, especially if the other team goes small.
I think you'll see a mix of it all, but back to Golden real quick. The one thing about him is he's not really a post-up guy. What he does is a lot of high ball screens. So you look at maybe what you might have seen at Arizona like 3-4 years ago. The idea, Kelvin, is that he's slipping almost all the time, and he's got really good hands. So in that situation, if you don't have size to come over and help Ballo if he slips that, then you're not going to be able to challenge that at the rim. He's 7'1", pretty well-built young man. So as far as him being a problem, it's really in those high ball screens and him coming off, because they got all the guards can put pressure, Kelvin. That's the thing. That offense is all about those guards putting pressure. And so if you lose Golden, then you got to have somebody else on the court who can come over and affect that shot at least.
All right, let's find out if we're going to win some money today and how we do that.
Tucson, what are some of today's best bets? Will the Cats beat the spread? It's time to look at some of today's best bets. Brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, we'll fly through this right here, guys. U of A -7 over under 64. I'm going to lay that 7 points. It was 7 the other night as well. Again, I think the scoring was down in the game on Wednesday night. But I think it'll be. I think 164 is a good number. I'm willing to go over that today.
I definitely with you on the laying the
Seven.
7. But
Okay.
I don't know, man. I think it's gonna be a little bit more defense in this game than that. I do. I think these guys are gonna really clash defensively. So no, I'm under.
Under. Okay. J-Dub?
I will say it will be 5. So I'll say that Arizona does not win by 7.
Oh.
So I think they win by about 5. And I'll say under. I just think the defense, Florida Atlantic, is going to be very similar to Alabama. They're going to try to take them out of those sets. You're going to see less assists in this game than you're used to seeing for
Great
Arizona.
man.
So offense may be hard to come by. I got a lot of respect for Coach Dusty, and like what they're doing down there. And they got everybody back from that Final Four run. 14 out of 15
guys.
players back from that team. If anything, my betting today is just based on respect for what FAU has been doing the last 48 months.
All right, we're going to have some movement. Everybody's 13-7 through 10 games, but we'll have some movement today. I'm taking U of A in the over. Kelvin's taking U of A in the under. J-Dub's taking Florida Atlantic and the under today.
Those are today's best bets. They are brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet. This hour of the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show is brought to you by Broadway in Tucson, Dave & Buster's Tucson, Dorado Rock, First Choice Pools, The Good Feet Store, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, O'Reilly Chevrolet, Ram Plumbing, Restaurant Supply Store, Right Way Heating, Cooling and Plumbing, Rocking KA Master Plan Community Design by Nature, University Termite and Pest Control.
Hi, this is Tim Couch, retired NFL quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, partner at Meridian Wealth Management, and proud member of Meridian's Tucson Advisory Business Council. It's my favorite time of year, college football season. I've always been a proud Wildcat. As our firm has grown in Tucson with Ruben and Natalie Fernandez, I now cheer on 2 Wildcats every year. My alma mater of Kentucky, of course, and our U of A Cats. Here's to a great football season, and go Cats.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
What a lot of people don't realize is the new Chevys at O'Reilly Chevrolet make great stocking stuffers, especially when you happen to own stockings the size of a garage. Our red tag sale is going on now, and it's big, much like the price you'll get for your old vehicle. Your trade has never been worth more than it is this holiday season. Check out our red tag deals at O'Reilly.com, call 747-8000, or let us play Santa in person on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Find new roads today at O'Reilly Chevrolet.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rock & K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills. Enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Hit the community trails, explore local parks like Saguaro National and Colossal Cave, and mingle at private Diamond Community Park events. In the top-rated Vail School District, Rock & K is close to work, shopping, and services. Tour 11 different model homes by top-tier builders, offering move-in ready homes and special incentives. Live rockandk.com. Designed by Nature, proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
True Wildcat fans know that when you're looking for the best place to watch all the big games on big screens, drinking cold beer and having the best food, all paths lead to Desert Diamond. Bet on your Wildcats and all your favorite teams 24/7 on our easy-to-use kiosks. Come chill on our comfy couches and build your best bet at Arizona's best bet, the Desert Diamond Sportsbook and Bar.
An enterprise of the Thana Autumn Nation.
Problem gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Desert Diamond Casino is licensed in Arizona.
Do you often worry you left the garage door open? With a LiftMaster garage door opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, we have smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video streaming, and battery backup that lets you in when the power is out.
Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates is your authorized local LiftMaster dealer. Visit KaiserDoor.com for more information. Coach Tommy Lloyd here. Did you spend money on your AC this summer? My friends at Rightway will give you back up to $3,000 for those repairs.
That's right. No matter who did the repair, we'll buy it back for up to $3,000 towards the purchase of a new heating and air system.
No repair bills this year? No worries. We will give you up to $2,000 trade-in plus 0% interest up to 60 months. Manufacturer rebates plus 10-year parts and labor warranty on a new heating and air system.
Have an aging heating and air system? Out of warranty? We'll inspect it absolutely free. Call Rightway Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing today.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
For over 30 years, Tucson has been putting its trust in First Chiropractic for auto and on-the-job injuries. They're locally owned and a proud sponsor of the U of A radio broadcasts. So if you've been injured, make the right choice. First
Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Here's an important message from University Termite and Pest Control. The weather is getting cooler here, and so rodents will be seeking alternative housing. Do you need a professional? Call University Termite and Pest Control, 886-4146. They've been serving Tucson since 1974. You can be assured University Termite and Pest Control will keep you pest-free using the most responsible products and application methods. 28 school districts, 3 hospitals, 2 colleges, 1 university, and thousands of homeowners trust University Termite and Pest Control. You can too. Call University Termite and Pest Control today at 886-4146 or go to bepestfree.com.
The Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show continues on the home of Arizona men's basketball, Wildcats Radio 1290. Our 1290 scouting report is brought to you by Ram Plumbing. When your plumbing is in trouble, call Ram on the double.
All right, let's take a closer look at today's opponent, the Florida Atlantic Owls, coming in with a record of 9-2. I guess we can call them the new princes of college basketball as they made the run to their first Final Four last season in 2023. Pleased to be joined by Frank Fort, the host of Inside the Owls Burrow. He is back in Florida for this one today as we are back in Tucson. Neither one of us have made the trek to Las Vegas for all the fun and festivities. But, Frank, first of all, let's start with last season. I know I was not the only person who said, Florida Atlantic? Who? But we all know Dusty May and followed his career in Indiana. But give us the synopsis of how he turned this in his fifth season last year into a Final Four program.
Well, David, I think the thing is I got to Florida Atlantic working on the television show back in 2016. And at that time, the basketball program was a mess, to put it bluntly. The football program in 2017 got a real boost with Lane Kiffin, who won 2 conference championships in 3 years and got us a lot of national exposure on the football end before he left for Ole Miss. Dusty May came in shortly thereafter, and as you know, from his assistant coaching job at the University of Florida. And what he started building was, his philosophy was, let me recruit good wing players and European bigs. Mm-hmm. And that's been kind of his template, which continues to this day. The hallmark, I think, of Dusty May's 5+ years at Florida Atlantic has been player development. The guys, and you can go down the list of this roster, the guys who have gotten significantly better over the past 2 or 3 years, Elijah Martin, John L. Davis, Vlad Golden, Nick Boyd, Giancarlo Rosado, they have gotten so much better than when they arrived at Florida Atlantic, and I think that's the real hallmark of his program, is developing players. And the broadcasters on the St. Bonaventure game last weekend mentioned it, as FAU beat a really solid Bonnie's team, is that they're an older team in terms of experience. There's not a lot of seniors, but there's guys who have been there for 2, 3, even 4 years. So they're an older team, and you can tell that by the way they play.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that, I think, across the board in college basketball, how veteran teams, especially when you get to March, can be very difficult to deal with because of that cohesiveness. that they've had inside of programs and knowing the fundamentals of what that coach wants to do, and they're just so built for that time of year when they come up against a lot of these maybe bigger programs who are funneling guys in and out every single year, and you don't necessarily have a chance to really build that type of cohesion. You mentioned the hallmarks of wings and European bigs. Why did Dusty feel like that was how he wanted to do this?
I don't have a good answer for that. I just know that was his philosophy. Where that all came from, I'm not sure. But that's the way he builds his teams. And again, like you're talking about the schools that, the blue bloods that have the one and done type of player, at the mid-major level, you generally get to be able to build your team and develop those players. But having said all that, you talked about 4 runs. As I sit here today, having witnessed where the program was and where it is now, I still have a little bit of a hard time wrapping my head around the fact that they were a second away from going to the national championship game.
Yeah.
It was just such a magical run. And the challenge this year is, you want to embrace your recent history, but you don't want to live in it.
Mm.
And that's been kind of Dusty's philosophy is, last year was last year. It was great. And we're not chasing the Final Four again. We're chasing being as good as we can on a day-to-day basis. He calls it frame by frame. When you look at video, you're not looking at 10, 20 seconds of video. You're going frame by frame. How do we do this better? How do we do that better? And that's sort of the way he is approaching this season. Because if you say, if we don't get to the Final Four, then the year's a failure, you're gonna set yourself up. The odds are for disappointment. I'm not saying they're not capable of making a deep run when they get to the tournament, because we all expect that they will be in the tournament. But let's just do what got us here. Let's focus on the practices and getting better. And if I can tell you a real quick story, how the players sort of embraced that. Last year at the Final Four, the semifinal games are Saturday, so they lose on that last second shot to San Diego State. That's a Saturday. They apparently flew home the next day. I had to go over to the gym, the Baldwin Arena, on Monday for something unrelated to basketball. And I walk into the gym, and there were 4 of our basketball players putting up shots. 2 days after they lost the national semifinal. And Dusty had told them, guys, get away from the game, take 2 weeks off, whatever. These guys were right back in the gym.
That's awesome. That's dedication. That's what you want from your kids. That taste in their mouth to where, hey, let's start now so we can get back there again, potentially, or at least, like you said, try to get back there. But you don't want to necessarily make that your whole focus, because that could immediately torpedo your season. Frank Ford is joining us. He is the host of Inside the Owls Burl. It is Florida Atlantic and Arizona today. And this scouting report is brought to you by Ram Plumbing. When your plumbing is in trouble, call Ram on the double. Let's look at this year's team that you guys have, Frank, and it looks like you guys do something very similar to Arizona, and looks like a very good team in sharing the basketball. Florida Atlantic comes in averaging almost 16 assists per game. The Wildcats are a team that routinely have over 20 assists per game. How does that offense work for Dusty that you guys are able to share the ball that way?
Yeah, when they're playing well, there generally is a very high percentage, over 50% of assisted field goals, because they do make the extra pass. They make a concerted effort to do that. They'll pass up a wide open 3 to get a better shot. And it's just the way they're built. They trust each other. They believe in each other. And, hero ball is not part of their DNA. Now, you get down to 5 or 6 on the shot clock. Sure, you're going to give it to Elijah Martin or John L. Davis. And those guys are so good at creating their own shot. But, they do a fantastic job of sharing the basketball, and it's something that's been instilled as the way this team plays. And, they're not the biggest team. You've got 7-1 Vlad Golden in the middle, and Giancarlo Rosado at 6'8" off the bench, and then Brendan Lorient at 6'8" off the bench, who plays the 4. But the tallest guy other than that plays regular minutes is John L. Davis at 6'4". So able to share the basketball. Length creates problems for them, and I think that's an area where, Arizona has a distinct advantage. But I will say that the guards, and usually there's 4 guards on the floor, they do a great job collectively rebounding. So that, I think, is a strength of their team.
All right, you mentioned European bigs, so let's talk about Vlad Golden. Leads the team in scoring at 15 points, grabbing 7 rebounds. We had a tremendous big versus big battle last Saturday between Umar Ballo and Zach Edey. What can big Umar expect from Vlad Golden today?
Well, Vlad Golden earlier in his career had a lot of trouble with early fouls, and as a result couldn't play a lot of minutes. And, we talk about player improvement. His footwork has improved exponentially since he's been at Florida Atlantic. Inside of 10 feet, he's proficient shooting with either hand. He's got a little jump hook with either hand. So he's comfortable going either left or right in the post. Good rebounder, good defender. The key will be, don't pick up that foul in the first 60 seconds or 2 fouls in the first 3 minutes. That's going to be a big key as far as Vlad Golden is concerned. But he's gained a lot of strength in his time, and as I said, his footwork has improved just an incredible amount. So he is a true low post player. It's some of, I think, what's been lost in college basketball and even pro basketball to a large extent, that true post player. And just to go off that, when Giancarlo Rosado comes in the game, he plays more of a high post game out at the elbows and is an excellent passer for a big guy. So there's really 2 different looks that they give a defense when one or the other of those guys is in the game.
We're joined by Frank Fort. He is the host of Inside the Owls Burrow. It is Florida Atlantic, the number 4 team in the country, and the 4th-ranked Arizona Wildcats coming up. Tip-off at 1 o'clock this afternoon over in Las Vegas. And Frank, we will go back to kind of the gist of what you said about how this team is built. European bigs and wings. Who are the wings in this system that the Wildcats will be contending with?
Well, first of all, John L. Davis, 6'4" out of Gary, Indiana. He is a old school scorer. I think of him more as a scorer than a shooter. He just knows how to get his shots. He's good from 3-point range, but I think he's at his best when he's going to the basket, driving the baseline, and getting those little 10, 12, 14-foot jumpers. He's really tough to guard. Elijah Martin, one of those guys who came to South Florida, he was more of an athlete than a basketball player out of Summit, Mississippi. 6'2", jumps out of the gym. Now he's developed into a good basketball player. He's also got great range, not afraid to take a 3-point shot from almost anywhere, but he's at his best in transition. When he get out in the open court, he can really run and he can really fly and get to the rim. So those are the 2 guys you got to watch. Nick Boyd, who missed a bunch of games with injury, he came back for the St. Bonaventure game. He's the point guard, and he's a very good guy at penetrating. And the guy who played most of the minutes when Boyd was out is Jalen Gaffney, who was a transfer last year from UConn. We didn't really see much of his offensive game last year. He was more the floor general type of guy. But when Boyd was out for those 6 or 7 games, he really attacked, and we saw his offensive game, or we've seen his offensive game kind of blossom. And then Brandon Weatherspoon, who's about a 6'4" wing player, he's more of a 3-and-D guy. And he's really the glue guy of this team. He's the guy that does all the, set the good screens, play the good defense. And then I would mention Brian Greenlee, who's also last year was a starter. He's coming off the bench more this year as a guard, one of the better on-ball defenders you're going to see in college basketball.
Now, obviously, you mentioned all the guys back. 14 out of 15 guys from that Final Four team last year.
Correct.
Janelle and Elijah both kind of tested the waters in the NBA. Was it kind of expected that they would probably come back, even though they kind of took that look?
Yeah, I think it was probably 50-50. They both worked out for 4, 5, 6 teams each. Not sure the exact number for each. I want to say it was 5 for Martin and 6 for Davis. And they went to the G League Combine, and I just thought that they both decided that, we'd be better off with another year of continuing to develop our game. But I really think it was 50-50 whether they would come back or not. The only guy that didn't come back from last year's team is Mike Forrest, who eligibility expired. And FAU was one of only 5 of the 360-plus Division I teams that did not have a player in the transfer portal this offseason. So that speaks to what they think of Dusty May and his coaching staff and what they need. Because in this day and age of college basketball, where I'm going to go wherever I think it's best for me, to have only 5 teams not have a player in the portal and FAU being one of them, that really said something to me.
And Frank, before we let you go, what's the biggest key for Florida Atlantic today?
I just think it's being able to defend. They're definitely at a length disadvantage. If they can play the kind of defense, and they did struggle with defense for a couple games, particularly against Illinois, which I think, size-wise and maybe style-wise is a little bit similar to Arizona. They struggled defensively in that game. They gave up 63% field goal shooting. So I think the key is going to be at the defensive end to kind of keep Arizona somewhat in check. You're not going to stop Arizona at the defensive end, but, just to be able to limit them, try to keep them under 50% from the field. I think that's, in my opinion, that's the key to this game for Florida Atlantic to have a chance. And they've taken on a tremendous preseason, or I shouldn't say preseason, non-conference is the right word, schedule this year. They accepted a lot of invitations, and Dusty May, when I asked him before the season, he said, look, yeah, we've bitten off a lot, but we've been kind of begging to get into these type of tournaments, the Jimmy V tournament, this type of game against Arizona on a national broadcast. He goes, we've been begging to kind of get into these kind of games, and our phone started ringing. We weren't calling them, and it's kind of hard to turn it down when, you've been trying to get this type of exposure for your program. And I think at FAU, we all know the record isn't going to be as good as last season, simply because of the difficulty of the schedule that they've taken on. But I think the resume at the end of the year, as far as the tournament goes, will be better.
Yeah, real quick, what went into that Illinois loss? I mean, obviously you guys come in averaging, opponents only averaging around 65 points a game, but they got almost 100 that day.
Yeah, they just shot the lights out. The one guy, I can't think of the name off the top of my head. He's definitely an NBA player. He shot the ball. He had 30-plus points. And then they had another guy who was only averaging about 10 or 11 points a game. He went off for about 30 as well. But again, they shot 63% from the field. And, FAU just couldn't find a way to shut them down at the defensive end of the floor. They certainly scored enough points to win. But Dusty was kind of disappointed in the defensive effort. And I think they kind of got back to more of their identity in the game against St. Bonaventure last week. And the other thing that I think has been really good about FAU is they've been in these tough games, and they were down double digits to St. Bonaventure in the first half. And they were also down to Liberty at halftime in the Field of 68 event that was held in Boca Raton with Liberty, Charleston, and Florida Atlantic. And they don't blink. They don't panic. And, that goes to being an older team. Let's just chip away at this. We'll get back in it. And sure enough, in the second half against St. Bonaventure, the Owls went on a 14-0 run and wind up winning by 10. So I think that's a trademark, too, that they're a team that doesn't panic. They, maybe in a game like this, they're going to be out-talented, but I don't think they're going to panic.
Yeah, I think the guy you were referring to from Illinois, Terrence Shannon Jr., the guard
That's
that
the
they
guy.
have, 33 points in that ball
Yeah,
game.
I couldn't think of his name off the top of my head, but, Dusty said before the game, this guy is going to be playing at the next level.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it, and he showed why. He was amazing, but when they had the second guy go for 30 points, that's where FAU got in trouble.
Yeah, Marcus Domask also had 33 in that game. Frank, hey, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Best of luck to you and the Owls the rest of this season.
It was a pleasure, David, to talk to you. Wish you happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and hopefully it's going to be a great ball game.
Back at you.
That's today's 1290 Scouting Report, brought to you by Ram Plumbing. When your plumbing is in trouble, call Ram on the double. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Are you ready to adopt? Come to the Humane Society of Southern Arizona. When you adopt from us, you will save more than one life. You'll also make room for the next pet in need. The Humane Society of Southern Arizona has been compassionately serving pets and the people who love them since 1944. Our knowledgeable adoption matchmakers will help you find the right pet for your home and support you after you adopt. We are open 7 days a week at our main campus at 635 West Roger Road. Learn more and see adoptable pets at hssaz.org.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 30 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees, bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including 5 in Tucson and Southern Arizona, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 1,800 5-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after any accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
What up, Tucson? This is Joseph Blair, former Wildcat and assistant coach of the Washington Wizards. When I came to play basketball at the U of A in the 90s, the Tucson community became and has always remained a special part of my life. And this is why I proudly joined the Meridian Wealth Management Tucson Advisory Business Council. If you have financial questions or concerns, please be sure and call my friends Natalie or Ruben Fernandez at 719-1433 or visit online at Meridian Wealth LLC. And as always, bear down, Tucson.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Get the backyard you've always wanted with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you're ready to dive in, then visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. Schedule now and get 3 months of full service free. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. First Choice Pools, the first and only choice.
Hi, it's Floyd, the family man with the family plan. Outdated HVAC systems will drive up your electric bill, drain your wallet, and peace of mind. Save now at Goodfellas with no payments or interest till 2024. Get a 30% federal tax credit, up to $2,000 off qualifying heat pumps. Trust Goodfellas. We're locally owned with thousands of 5-star reviews. Good service, good prices, Goodfellas. Visit us at goodfellasac.com to schedule a no-cost estimate.
Do you often worry you left the garage door open? With a LiftMaster garage door opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, we have smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video streaming, and battery backup that lets you in when the power is out.
Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates is your authorized local LiftMaster dealer. Visit KaiserDoor.com for more information.
If you're a do-it-yourselfer looking for quality car parts in Tucson, look no further. Advance Auto Parts has 6 Tucson locations with over 75 years in business. Advance Auto Parts is the largest car parts retailer in the U.S., and customers know they can trust their products, like Die-Hard batteries. Now with free installation, only found at Advance Auto Parts stores. Take advantage of our same-day delivery and pickup. Just visit our website at stores.advanceautoparts.com and make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Advance Auto Parts for all your car repair needs. Now a proud radio sponsor of the University of Arizona Wildcats.
The Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show continues on the home of Arizona men's basketball, Wildcats Radio 1290.
Arizona and Florida Atlantic today in Las Vegas. It's the Desert Classic. Tip-off coming up at 1 o'clock. This will be the second meeting all time between these two teams. The lone other game they played was right here in Tucson Back in November of 2008, the Wildcats won 75-62. It was a historic game for the Arizona Wildcats. Do you all remember why it was historic? First game of the 2008-2009 season. My first game covering this program.
Yeah. Coach Miller's first game, something like that.
Coach Russ Pennell's first game.
Pennell, yeah.
Meaning the first game that was not head coached.
Sure.
Officially. Well, there were games that were not head coached by Lute Olson prior to that, but he was still the head coach of the program. That was the first game of which he was no longer the head coach of the Arizona Wildcats.
I kind of blocked out a lot of that period from my brain. Honestly.
Arizona won the game that night, 75-62. Chase Buttinger scored 21 points that night. Nick Wise had 19. Jordan Hill, 12 points, 10 rebounds that night for Arizona. A team that included Brendan Lavender, Kyle Fogg off the bench, Alex Jacobson, some names you might remember. Zane Johnson was on that team, played a couple of minutes. And Garland Judkins, the famous Garland Judkins, who I believe transferred not too long after that game, was played. Mike Jarvis, the legendary Mike Jarvis, was the head coach at Florida Atlantic. You'll remember him. He coached at Seton Hall and University of Massachusetts.
Was he at George Washington?
George Washington as well, yes. Yep, he coached at all four of those universities. Florida Atlantic was his last stop in college basketball. So, yeah, that's the last time that these two teams got together was November of 2008. They'll do it again today here in Las Vegas. Not here, but in Las Vegas. It'll be the Wildcats and Florida Atlantic. All right, let's get to our keys to the game.
Wildcats fans, our keys to the game are brought to you by the Royal Automotive Group. Royal Automotive, the dealership that is different.
Kelvin Efon, what do the Wildcats have to do to win this final non-conference game of the year?
Well, I think it's going to be a lot like the Alabama game as far as game plan is concerned. They have a lot of shooters. They shot 16 for 30 versus Texas A&M, so I want to be there on the catch again. I thought they did a great job against Alabama, so I want to be there again on the catch again and try to make sure that these guys don't get any easy looks. They like to put the ball on the floor, so I'd rather them put it on the floor than to knock down a bunch of threes. Points in the paint. I want to get 45 points or more in the paint. I don't think they're a big team. I think we need to attack their big fella, get them in foul trouble, or just go to Ballo or the guards. I don't care where we get it from. I just want 45 points in the paint. And then collecting long rebounds. These guys are hustle. They like to scrap. I just think defensive rebounding is going to be key to this victory.
J-Dub, what do you think?
Yeah, similar. I think you got to go inside early and often. I think there's no size after a Golden, so we've seen him establish Ballo pretty early and often all year long. I don't think it's going to be much different, but especially in this game, and the boards, they have to dominate. They have to get plus 10, maybe even plus 15. Again, not a big team. All those hustle plays Kelvin's talking about. Just make sure that you're basically pursuing the ball no matter where it's at. And just stay in front of drivers. I completely agree with Kelvin about getting out on those shooters. And what they're going to do is a lot of drive and kick type stuff. So if it's not high pick and roll, it's going to be drive and kick. So moving your feet and stay in front of those drives, they don't have anywhere to go. If they can't get into the paint to kick out to outside shooters, just be really good on-ball defenders. Whoever's got the ball, just make sure you stay in front of them. And those are my keys.
All right, and I think it's going to be, I think one of the things, obviously, is what you guys have both said here today, and that's to get the ball inside, and I think dominate, try to get Vlad Golden into the foul trouble that he's much better defender than he was early in his career, as we heard Frank Fort say, but I think if you can get him in foul trouble, that's going to really add to what this team can do offensively if you're Arizona. I would like to see, and this is not necessarily, I think, a key to the Wildcats winning tonight, but I'd like to see this team shoot the three-pointer a little bit better than they have in the last few ball games, because that's going to be something that this Wildcat team is absolutely going to have to do moving forward, is be a consistent three-point shooting team. And so I'd like to see 40% from three and maybe make 10 threes in this ball game to kind of get that aspect of this offense going for Arizona. And I think if you do the other things that you normally do, share the ball, sharing is caring, 20-plus assists, and like J-Dub said, dominate the boards, I should say, at a plus 10 clip. I think that you're going to have an easy recipe for victory here today in Las Vegas against Florida Atlantic. Those are the things that we believe the Wildcats need to do to beat the Owls.
Wildcats fans, that's our keys to the game. Brought to you by the Royal Automotive Group. Royal Automotive, the dealership that is different.
It is the Arizona Wildcats and the Florida Atlantic Owls today. We are the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show. We are also brought to you by Dave & Buster's. It is the best place to eat, drink, and play while watching this afternoon's game between the Wildcats and the Florida Atlantic Owls. Before we wrap things up today, guys, do you know the significance of what happened 3 years ago today in Arizona athletics?
I do not.
Jed Fish was hired as the head coach of the Arizona Wildcats 3 years ago today. And today, I think they've actually already gotten on a plane and are heading to a bowl game. 3 years.
That's pretty good. A good bowl game, too. pretty good bowl.
Pretty good bowl. The best ranked bowl game between ranked teams outside of the New Year's Six and the college football playoff. So not bad at all for Arizona Wildcats basketball, or football, I should say, in the 3 years since Jed Fish arrived here on campus. We'll have complete coverage of that game coming up for you next week. Obviously, we'll be off Christmas Day, but we will be back with you here Tuesday and Wednesday, getting you set for Arizona and Oklahoma in the Alamo Bowl. That will be Thursday night. Now, there have been some changes, just minor changes to the schedule for that day. We will now go on the air at 3. They've kind of pushed things back a little bit in San Antonio that day, so we'll go on the air at 3 o'clock for that ball game. Real quick, Kelvin, any final thoughts on this game?
I think it's going to be an interesting game. I thought Florida Atlantic would be our first real test. I thought we got as far as dealing with tournament type guards. So really love to see how we deal with these guards. As you know, to win NCAA games is all about the guard when you're talking about tournament play. So this is going to be a great test versus a guard group that have been there. Our guys of the new starting lineup. So just going to be exciting to see how they deal with these guys and how they pass this test.
Yeah, Sam, I think I circled this one just because of the experience factor and the scrappiness of that team. So it should be a great game. I'm really looking forward to this one.
Tommy Lloyd doesn't play the Gonzaga Bulldogs. That's his old stomping ground. Not really comfortable doing that, as you might imagine, but he's playing Florida Atlantic, a team that, as you heard Dusty May and Frank Fort say, is carved out much like Gonzaga. And the things that Mark Few built up there and Tommy Lloyd was a part of. And so we'll see how the Wildcats and their head coach battle against that today. Let's get to the starting lineups for today's ball game.
The foundation of a great college basketball team begins with the starting lineup. Today's starting lineup is brought to you by Rockin' K, a master plan community designed by nature.
All right, at one guard, Kylan Boswell, 6'2", sophomore out of Champaign, averaging 12 points and 5 assists. Caleb Love at the other guard, 6'4", senior out of St. Louis, Missouri. He's leading the team at 16 points per ball game. Pelle Larsson, the third guard, 6'5", senior out of Nacka, Sweden. And over the last 3 games, he's averaging 16 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. Keyshawn Johnson is at forward, 6'7", senior out of Oakland, 14 points and 7 rebounds a game. And the man in the middle, Umar Ballo, 7 foot out of Mali, a career program best 64% field goal percentage, averaging 13 points and 7 rebounds. That's going to wrap up our coverage. We'll be back with you after the game. Enjoy it. Number 14, Florida Atlantic. Number 4, Arizona, coming up next. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
This hour of the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show is brought to you by Broadway in Tucson, Dave & Buster's Tucson, Dorado Rock, First Choice Pools, The Good Feet Store, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, O'Reilly Chevrolet, Ram Plumbing, Restaurant Supply Store, Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, Rocking KA Master Plan Community Design by Nature, University Termite and Pest Control.
Here's an important message from University Termite and Pest Control. The weather is getting cooler here, and so rodents will be seeking alternative housing. Do you need a professional? Call University Termite and Pest Control, 886-4146. They've been serving Tucson since 1974. You can be assured University Termite and Pest Control will keep you pest-free using the most responsible products and application methods. 28 school districts, 3 hospitals, 2 colleges, 1 university, and thousands of homeowners trust University Termite and Pest Control. You can too. Call University Termite and Pest Control today at 886-4146 or go to bepestfree.com.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 30 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees, bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including 5 in Tucson and Southern Arizona, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 1,800 five-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation.